I'm sitting here with Mr. Joey Salads, and as you're watching this, I'm pretty sure, hopefully he hasn't canceled on me for the third time, I'm on Joe Rogan's podcast. And so there's a lot of stuff happening in the conversation around censorship, around journalists who are actually activists, and we've seen a bunch of really terrifying examples of how journalists are actually activists. There's another really important thing that needs to be talked about too, and that's the road to redemption for people who break the rules on social media, and I think Joey's a really good person to talk to about a bunch of these things. So first, we have the desire of many of these, I'll do air quotes for journalists, who want to push rage bait, right? That stuff, it's content that makes you angry so you click it. And the reason why I think, that's a good example of how not only do you have activists in media, but you also have business people. These are people who know this is the content that gets traffic, and now we're being inundated by media that's politically driven, right? We had an article from Wired that said, Facebook has banned Tommy Robinson, here's who they should ban next. Like, why is a news organization telling us who is or isn't allowed to speak? Right? They're diving into the realm of activism here. And so one of the reasons why Joey's going to be good, and we'll just jump right into this conversation, is you're now one of the most notable things about you is horrifying, because you were producing extreme rage bait.
Yeah, so that's basically what I considered my skill back in 2016, when it was pretty much the height of the election. Was I was just creating content that would specifically piss people off because I knew it would go viral.
You were making money doing it.
Yeah, I was making good money.
And you got caught.
I got caught doing
it. For those that, if you're not familiar, there was one video where you had a car with like Trump logos on it, and then you were like, I'm going to leave this in this neighborhood.
I pretty much paid black people to beat it up, and that was like,
oh my God, dude. That's horrible.
What I never talk about after that, like I don't want to even try to defend myself on that, but like recently after that, real situations just like that started popping
exactly.
up.
So another reason why, like, I'm in LA, right? So I'm going to come on the podcast with Joe, and I was like, but Jussie Smollett just happened, right? You had this crazy story.
I smelled that bullshit from a mile away.
I think I saw a tweet where someone was like, why should we trust you on this? And then you just like basically waving your arms like, because I did it, right?
Yep.
So So let me ask you. You made this video. You, like you said, you basically paid black people to destroy a car because it was rage content, right? It got Trump supporters to click. How did you fall into that? How did you discover that?
It just slowly started happening over time. So I'll do videos because I was doing pranks and social experiments, and I was always making the news. I was always in the news because like a child abduction video, a date rape video. And I was like, let me start bringing this towards politics. And then if I did something slightly politically related that wasn't like so far in any direction, I noticed outrage coming. And I was like, oh, those are the ones getting the most views, the ones with outrage.
Were you getting news stories from it? Like, would people write about it?
Yeah, I was getting tons. So then I was like, okay, let me just do this. And like as I was like in my head, in my own bubble, I was not realizing how far extreme I was going with these videos.
Literally hired black dudes to destroy a car.
Because it's like, when you're in your own echo chamber where you're like, oh, this is what I'm doing, this is what's working, let me just keep doing it. And it's like just going crazier and crazier until it reached that breaking point.
You got caught.
And then I was like, then I sat back and realized, like, holy shit, I was on like a maniac rampage just trying to produce outrage content, and it finally backfired on me.
You went on H3H3 and like came clean like a bunch of stuff you'd done that was fake and everything. Mm-hmm. And so...
And I also realized after that, I'm like, there's no point of lying anymore.
Why?
Because the
crazy.
truth always comes out, like, you know what I mean?
Well, so that brings me to like the next big point. So I don't want to compare necessarily. I don't want to put like an equivalence on. You literally hired these guys, like black people destroy a car. It was horribly racist in a certain respect. Like absolutely drove this racist narrative that I thought was. I got really mad at you. I was like cussing you out.
I remember that.
But here's what I realized. I was like, that's not gonna convince Joey to stop doing things like this. That's gonna convince him to do it more because the people who like it are gonna keep rewarding you. So, and we talked about this too. We did a video like 2 years ago because I came back from Sweden and I was like, it was wrong of me to start yelling at you. And I realized you got a ton of fans that are listening to what you have to say, and it's not even about whether you're right or wrong. It's that they trust you and they like you. They feel empathy towards you. And so when people attack you, they get defensive. And so I was like, well, I can't push you towards the wrong, towards the darkness. I have to apologize for being angry and give you a chance to redeem yourself. So now so this is the road to redemption, which we'll get more into in a little bit. But so I don't want to draw an equivalence between what you did and what the mainstream media does necessarily, but to a certain extent, there's a scale issue, right? And so the way I want to explain this is that one video you did was like a huge peak of insanity, like that was crazy wrong. But what the mainstream media does is small grains of sand every day of fake news, of rage bait. Like one of the things I was mentioning to Joey before we started recording is Vox.com publishes an article saying that 11 million people in this country are alt-right. That's insane. Even by high estimates.
It's crazy because I put a poll up on my Instagram. My Instagram's not political. It goes, why do you like Trump or why do you hate Trump? And people are answering the questions. He's racist. He's this. Our country's in shit. Our country's divided. And I'm like, well, on paper, if you look at the data, our country's doing better than ever before, economic-wise. Arguably, it's doing, on average better, whatever it is. And people are believing that we're in this massive turmoil and that we're divided. Meanwhile, black unemployment's at an all-time low.
Hispanic unemployment too.
Yeah, Hispanic. Everything's hitting records in a good way. And people are believing, oh, wow, the Trump is racist, Trump is this, Trump is that. Everyone who supports him is racist. My girlfriend lost her best friend because she's dating a Trump supporter and because I embody everything she hates. Yeah.
Well, so look at the latest news.
But what I'm trying to get to is the reason why people believe that is because, as you said, they're being fed these fake tidbits of fake news over time, and the only division in this country is not from Trump, it's from the people peddling this fake news to divide us.
Well, I'll push back and say there is division coming from Trump, easily. But Trump is, in my opinion, divisive in the way that most politicians are. Obama criticized Fox News relentlessly. Yeah. Trump criticizes the media. But look at what 95% of media is about Trump is negative. Like I'm talking to my dad, and I'm like, no, that's stories. So actually, let me do this. A specific example, because I made a video about this the other day. BuzzFeed comes out with news saying Trump explicitly told Michael Cohen to lie to Congress. Well, now you've got people on the left who are already freak out even more, being like, oh my God, our president is a crook, is a criminal. Mueller's office comes out and says, not true. What does BuzzFeed do? Nope, we're not backing down. We're going to double down. Then what happens? Cohen testifies. Trump never told me to lie. What does BuzzFeed do? We're still not wrong. So when the media, they're not doing anything at in terms of extremism as the video you made was really bad, but they're doing it's like haymakers versus uppercuts. Your video is like a boom to the face, and they're doing little jabs nonstop all day every day. When you catch them doing it, they don't back down. They don't come clean. They have no incentive to stop lying, and they keep making money.
Yep. The thing is, the debate is what drives clicks. So I think, obviously, there's so many websites out there that are just perpetrating fake news and radical leftyism, just obviously because they'll get those radical lefties to click, and then they get us to click. They get us to talk about it because we're all pissed off.
I just mentioned Vox and BuzzFeed.
Yeah, look at all the stories you talk about on a daily basis, from the outrage that's driven from the articles you talk about or the fake news that you talk about. That's what they want. They're beating us at our own game. We don't even know it.
Well, I mean, here's the thing. I read a bunch of different media outlets. I read Vox. I read BuzzFeed. I read Daily Wire. I read Daily Caller. I try my best to read CNN and Fox News. And here's what I find. Like Covington happens, right? Covington scandal. I go to the Daily Caller. I go to the Daily Wire, and they're correct. They've actually done a breakdown to try and figure out what this is. I look at the Jussie Smollett story. Daily Wire is critical, and I'm like, I mean, look, I am not religious in any way. I disagree with Ben Shapiro on almost everything politically. The only thing I think I agree with him on is free speech. And here I am going to his publication, and I'm seeing a more honest breakdown. Then I go to Washington Post, all fake, all wrong.
The thing is, those outlets, the mainstream media outlets, don't really have fan bases. They're just trying to reach a general audience where they're just trying to get that high click rate percentage click through. Meanwhile, you have Daily Wire, yourself, Steven Crowder, which has strong fan bases where people will click and watch because they trust them no matter what, and they know they're gonna get an honest take, an honest opinion, or even the truth.
You know what's crazy to me is, so one point I want to make sure we get to, because we I don't know how long this video will be. I don't think it's that the person who owns Vox or whatever is an activist. I think they figured out what you figured out. Rage equals traffic equals money, and no one is going to catch them ever. You are nowhere near as big as the people who run Vox, the people who run BuzzFeed. You're still a big YouTuber. You get caught. Everyone points the finger at you, angry.
It's all on me.
And so now you not like I think that the last video I saw, you had like a guy get like sprayed in the face with milk, and it's like, so we'll get to the road to redemption in a second because I think it's a really important point that you went from like whoa off the rails to now you got a hokey video of you with a wig on and a guy gets sprayed. It's like such a family friendly version of where you were. But what happens with Vox and BuzzFeed? Even when BuzzFeed is proven to be wrong and lying, they just go on. So Ben Smith goes on MSNBC and says, "No, we're right," and there's nothing. You know, conservatives are outraged
because they're at the top and no one's there to push down on them to keep them in check. If anything, we're the ones punching up at them. I was down here, so they're easy to punch me back
And it was
down.
actually, it was the media, right?
Yeah,
Somebody published the video, and then all of a sudden every lefty media just descends on you and knocks you down. And I think that's a good thing, right?
Yeah,
I think like you made a good point. You didn't realize how far you had gone. You kind of got kicked in the balls on that one. And then now you've done a 180. So let's actually, we can talk now about...
The crazy thing is that, and me dressing up as a Nazi, going to the Trump rally, seeing Trump supporters and Nazis. Those are the two things.
Dude.
To the day I die, I'm going to be explaining to people.
Yeah.
And the thing is...
Well, you should explain it, though.
Yeah, so, with the Nazi one?
Yeah. Yes.
So, all of in the news, I think this was after...
Yeah, it was like Charlotte, it was around the Charlotte, it was like 2 years ago.
It was a year before Charlottesville.
Oh, wow.
So I made this. It didn't go nowhere because this is when I was like, if I did a political video, I'm like, it's got to be 100% real because I was trying to, road to redemption. Yep. I was like, anything political's got to be real. I got to, redeem myself, keep myself on the straight path. So I went to the Trump rally and I'm like, all right, let's see if Trump supporters are really Nazis because at the time everyone was saying Trump supporters are Nazis. So I go there dressed up as a Nazi.
Well, you said an armband on, right?
Yeah, an armband on. I was the worst Nazi. I think it was on the wrong arm or something too, and I was thinking to myself like, someone's gonna screenshot this and this is gonna be viral.
But so the Trump supporters threw you out.
Yeah, they kicked me out immediately.
That was the point.
Like, get the hell out! Yeah, that was the point.
Except the message you wanted to send got flipped on its head.
Yeah, and the funny thing is, I was like, it's gonna be ironic when I'm making a video to prove Trump supporters aren't Nazis, but this image is gonna be used to prove Trump supporters are Nazis.
It's like I always use this example. It's a fire truck on fire.
Yeah, that's literally
you drove
what
the
it
fire
was.
truck to the Trump rally, and then it burst into flames.
The video did 500,000 views in the first year, which is nothing. And then once Charlottesville breaks out, I'm in Jamaica hanging out, and the photo surfaces. Celebrities are tweeting out. Producers of big TV shows like Ellen, Mark Ruffalo.
Oh man.
DJs, artists, comedians are tweeting it out. Saying, look what's going on in Charlottesville. Another Trump supporting
Nazi. It was California, right?
What was that?
You were in California.
I was in California for the video, and I was in Jamaica during the time of Charlottesville.
Yeah. Yep.
And
it was the opposite. It was so it's crazy. It was taken out of context by celebrities and media. Mm-hmm. It was politically weaponized. And here's what's crazy about it. I saw that. I knew immediately what it was, and so me like trying to be someone who's like, here's what's actually going on. I quote tweeted the screenshot and said, this is from somebody, I can't remember who tweeted it. I said, this is just an image from a social experiment prank. And then what they did was they took my statement out of context and said something to the effect of, the far right is radicalizing YouTubers into thinking that dressing up like Nazis is funny and a joke. And I'm like, no, oh my God. The point was that you were trying to show that people hated Nazis. But even me trying to explain it was weaponized. And the crazy thing is, I had an ex-girlfriend actually tweeting it out, and I'm like, "What are you doing? Like, I'm not enemies with you. Like, I'm on good terms with my exes."
Yeah.
That was like, man, that was nuts. So, that's another really good example that we can bring up too, because to talk about when you got caught the first time, you're like, "I did wrong." You got caught with this one. You didn't do anything. It was literally a social experiment, and that shows you that even when you didn't fake it, they still point the finger at you and try and destroy you. And it's true. You made a good point. There's no one above them to knock them down, and they won't police each other. So you get Trump doing it. What do? They all team up.
Yeah.
So now you have like Oliver Darcy, who is the person who went on CNN and said Alex Jones was banned because of media pressure, mostly from him. He just went on CNN and said CPAC is where gullible people are sold, BS from grifters. It's like, dude, you're clearly an activist. And so I feel like these media companies, I think this is fair to say because I've worked for them, there's business people on top who know exactly what you knew, and they hire activists, and they can claim deniability. Like, oh, that wasn't me, that was them.
Just the people we hired.
So let's actually talk about the road to redemption too, because as I pointed out, the last video I saw from, I don't know if it was the last video you made, but you're like wearing a dress and a wig, and you put a purse down. Some guy opens it, gets sprayed in the face with milk.
The bait purse prank.
Bait purse. So I saw that. I immediately started laughing. It had a ton of views on Instagram, and I started thinking, I'm like, damn, dude, this is the dude who a couple of years ago was making these insane, rage baity, like extreme, politically damaging, divisive content. Given the chance to keep working without being banned, you're now making really hokey, family-friendly...
It's weird, because last night I was looking up... I just Googled my name, and I saw a bunch of petitions to get me banned off of YouTube from 2016.
Wow.
I was like, wow. And it was some kids I went to school with were signing them and writing on it, saying, oh, I know this kid from class, he was an idiot, he was this.
And they're going to lie about you. Dude, yeah. I had some woman claim on Twitter, there was this thread about me, that they tagged me in it because everyone always wants to make sure you know they're dragging you. And somebody randomly says, Tim Pool came to my house at 2 a.m. one day and started and turned the TV on and woke everybody up. And there's a bunch of replies from people saying, like, damn, I can't believe you would do that. And I'm like, first of all, I don't know you. You live in Boston. I don't live in Boston.
You just went to someone's house and turned their TV on.
But it's like people want to just join the party and drag you.
They want to believe it. People love failure. That's why the most famous celebrities are the ones that are all cracked out. Because people love seeing people do bad.
It brings them back. It brings them back in the news. So here's the most important point. When you ban someone from Twitter, where do they go? Well, they go where everyone else was banned. So now what Twitter is doing is they're taking all the people they don't like and putting them in the same place. Well, to their benefit, they're able to rally around certain causes like free speech, but to their detriment, you're taking people who are not like there's some people who said learn to code, banned for a joke. Now you're putting them literally next to neo-Nazis. So Twitter bans the American Nazi Party. Sure, I get that.
It's kind of like what you were saying earlier, you're comparing it to prison, and it's like taking someone who got caught smoking a little joint of weed and throwing them in with murderers.
Exactly. And no, so that's something that a lot of people talk about is how people become hardened criminals in prison. I think the weed is a perfect example. Mm-hmm. You get some 18-year-old kid up in the Bronx gets stopped for having pot. So they throw him in lockup for a couple weeks, and now he's standing next to gangbangers, murderers, all of the worst of the worst, and that's who he's being surrounded by. So that's what really scares me with what Twitter is doing, with what YouTube actually isn't as bad as a lot of people think, but they do it. They do. Mumkey Jones always gets a shout out for me when I talk about this. I don't know if you know about Mumkey. Mumkey broke no rules. Right? No, he broke no rules, got his channel terminated, so YouTube does it too. But when you do this, people say, fuck it. Straight up. And that's what I was thinking about in Sweden when you messaged me, and I'm like, this dude? This guy is messaging me? I was like, hell no, I am here on an important mission. I'm a journalist. This guy is fake news. And then it was like, after I saw the reaction, I was like, that was really dumb.
I was like, I was so depressed.
I felt really bad because you said something to me like, damn, dude, I was just trying to like talk to you about some news, and I felt really bad. I was like, oh man, I hate being mean. But I got really emotional because I'm so sick of the media and the lies. And when I saw what you did, felt so much like what the media had been doing at the same time. I'm like, you're one of them. You're one of... Yeah. And then I thought about it, I'm like, yeah, but here's the thing. If that's all that people ever say to you, because like Philip DeFranco still, I don't know how you've responded, because I remember on Twitter he was coming at you.
I hate that dude, man. He keeps going on about it. Like whenever I come back up, he'll go back on and get it.
And here's my thing. What you did was wrong, and you said that. Now some people say, yeah, he's only saying because he has to. I'm like, good. I don't care why he's doing it.
Yeah,
you know
people
what?
Change when they have to change.
I mean, if you're going to make millions of dollars and people are going to support you, why would you change? So I'm not saying you're making millions of dollars. I'm saying like there's the bad people in media who have no reason to change and never will. But I started thinking like, a lot of people get hung up on motivations, as if the motivation is more important than the outcome. And you had this announcement the Trump administration was going to fight to decriminalize homosexuality in foreign countries. Like they literally kill people for being gay. I'm like, that's bad. And then what happens? Out Magazine says it's Trump's. It's an old racist tactic, and I'm like, oh, I don't. What are you talking about? Like, listen, you can ascribe whatever motives you want to Trump. If what he's doing right now is for the purpose of protecting the LGBT community, I'm gonna begrudgingly be like, okay, do it. I don't have to like you, but do it. Right? Is it still going? It's good.
Yeah, I was just making sure that it was going. Yeah.
So I think the point's like painfully clear. You weren't banned. You're making content now, and now your content is really like it's family friendly, right? It's like not all of it. No, but I mean like some dude getting sprayed in, like so it's like you can watch his video, but he opens a purse and milk hits him in the face and he starts waving his arms, and it's funny, and I laughed, And I'm like, it's so dramatically different. But there are a lot of people I've seen who, I don't want to name drop anybody because I don't want to really, push people who are already down through the mud. But it's like pot. It's like you take this person who did basically nothing. He broke no rules. You get him banned, and now he's on the only other social network that will accept him, where he's surrounded by actual neo-Nazis.
Yeah. And it's like, I just hate the fact that people think that it's impossible to be redeemed. They'll pull something out from, it's been on pretty much 3 years now.
And they're still pulling it up.
And they're still pulling it up. Oh, weren't you the... I'll comment on AOC's thing. Alexander Cortez's tweets.
And I'll post a picture of you.
I'll post a photo of me. Yep. Nazi, aren't you the racist baiting social experiment guy? It's like, if you knew anything about me, if you followed up on the story afterwards, you'll see that things have changed.
But think about this. Think about if those people said, hey, aren't you that guy who did that stupid Nazi thing? That's really screwed up that people are treating you poorly. Why don't you come hang out with us and help us do some good work? Imagine if people on the left said, I'm not going to hold this over you, Joey. I want you to do better. Imagine if these leftists who wanted to push these ideologies were willing to bring you in. You got million plus subscribers. I don't know. You got millions of fans. If they were willing to say, well, you know what, Joey did wrong, but if he's willing to redeem himself, he could be a very powerful voice for good. They don't. They keep
they don't
beating
think that far ahead.
Yeah. So, and that's what's crazy to me when I saw Phil dragging you too, because I'm like, at a certain point, the way I described it on Rogan the last time I was on his show is, you could murder somebody and still get out of prison in 25 years. Sometimes even less. It's kind of shocking sometimes, but not for the public court of public opinion. You say one wrong word, we ban you for life.
That's why when that kid got caught raping the girl.
Yeah.
What's his name?
I can't remember that guy, and I'm glad I don't remember his name either, because I remember that disgusting face.
That's the thing is, like, people were mad that he didn't serve much prison time or prison time at all. I don't remember, but I'm just like thinking, I'm like, I'd rather go to jail than deal with what that guy's
negative backlash.
Yeah, then his entire life he's gonna be known as that guy who raped somebody. Like, I would rather spend a couple years in jail than deal with that for an entire lifetime.
I mean, it's a good point. I think that guy is one of the worst people on the planet.
Yeah,
that's
course.
Disgusting.
I'm not justifying anything he did. But what I'm saying is the punishment of the public opinion. I
is
think
worse.
That's worse.
Oh yeah. I think that dude is like, and that's actually why the offender registry is actually brought up in a lot of debates. But you know what? There are still some people that I'm gonna say, fuck that guy, and he's absolutely one of them.
Fuck that guy.
But here's the thing: it is true. As much as I'm like, man, you brought that guy up, and I'm like, ooh, but I really, really fucking hate that. Like, ooh, and I'm willing to swear, and I never swear. But at a certain point, you do have to recognize, what are you going to do? What do we do with him? Do we lock him up, throw away the key? That's I don't know. I really don't know. I think there are some crimes, life in prison. I'm against death penalty, absolutely. But
I think they should have a choice. If you can have life in prison, it's like, we can kill you right now, or you're going to spend life in jail.
I'm against death penalty.
I think it should be.
You can choose to do that if you want, but
I know.
Let's not go too far in the wrong direction. That's going to become a crazy conversation. But like, let's simmer down from the guy who's probably one of the worst people in our culture, right? That guy, man, that's a tough.
The fact that he had such, like, everybody, 100% of people were against him.
Oh yeah. Even I'm unwilling to defend the guy.
Yeah.
And we're talking about redemption. I'm like, damn, dude, you've put me in a corner, man. I don't want to fucking give that guy any time.
I feel like the fact that everybody was against this dude kind of disproves what the left was doing with that story, saying, oh, this is acceptable by, white straight men.
Oh yeah, no, exactly. Like, it was like, nobody wants that.
Yeah.
That dude's a monster.
Oh, who was it? It was when, like, Logan Paul was getting a lot of flack for his stuff, and he still gets shit for tasing a dead mouse. Like, what? I'm like thinking about, like,
but the Pauls are another good point too. Like,
hella redemption right there.
When who was it, Jake, who filmed the body? Logan filmed the body. Vice was very, very close to the same thing. They filmed a skeleton. And so I have to imagine that if you're someone like him, you saw the success of Vice's Suicide Forest video, you thought, I want to do the same thing. And you take it one step further to up the ante, and then you cross that line. And then everyone's like trying to destroy him for it. So I think the point, the important segue here is, there are some people that's like, even I don't want to go near in terms of defending, and that's a philosophical conundrum in my head.
Yeah.
But saying a naughty word on Twitter and getting banned for life that's extreme, right? That's like that's just so extreme. that can only lead to bad things. So I'll say this. Sure, I think there are certain things you can do that get you punishment for life. But, like, making objectionable content like you did, no, I think we need to figure out how to leverage your force for good because you have people who follow you. Saying bad opinions on Twitter, well, you're allowed to have opinions. I guess everybody has a line, but I'm just saying the way that social media is working today, man, the line is really, really thin. You know, it's like you don't even know you're walking on you're on a razor wire.
Yeah.
You know.
So I'm trying to use what I know on the back end, what I know in manipulation. I want to use that knowledge for good. So that's why I call out shit like the Jesse Smollett situation.
Yeah.
Called it out 10 minutes after the story dropped. Made a video on it, and half the people are cursing me out, calling me racist. And I'm like, well,
right.
I know. I can tell. I've done this exact same thing before.
And to be fair, like, even Dr. Phil on Joe Rogan's podcast was like, I don't know about that one. And Joe said that. He's like, as soon as we were done, he's like, we take the headphones off, and we're like, no.
Yeah, I saw that.
I mean, you know, there's still a 0.1% chance of telling the truth. I just really doubt it.
Very unlikely.
But I guess we'll just do.
At least I didn't fucking use up the police's resources to find.
Oh yeah.
To find the people who don't exist.
But I guess I'll just do one more quick question. Actually, I totally forgot what I was going to ask you. I don't know. Do you want to just any final thoughts? Because we've gone pretty long time. You just any important?
I don't know. Is there anything you wanted to home in on?
You know, because I wanted to. I feel like we just might be getting into beating a dead horse and saying things over and over again. I was gonna thinking of asking something about, you know, from where you're sitting, we've got a media that basically does the same thing you did, and they get away with it every day, and there's no one to stop them. But I feel like you already brought that up.
Yeah, it's like we kind of like touched on everything like as we went through.
So I think we hit the nail on the head with the hammer. So if any,
I guess there's one more thing. You can cut this out if you don't.
No. I'm gonna do it raw. This is raw.
Oh wow, this is.
I'm not gonna edit this.
Shit. Out my curses so you don't get demonetized.
I'm gonna leave them in.
Let's see what happens.
Yeah. Whatever, man.
Well,
it's a good conversation.
Yeah.
Like,
what I was gonna say is when Logan Paul, when he made his redemption, the news came out saying, people on YouTube are too forgiving of straight white men.
Oh,
Because it was like some black kid got caught doing something messed up and he got like ran off of YouTube or whatever. I think I was brought up in the article. That's how I found it. And they were like listing like YouTubers that got forgiveness for their mistakes because they were white. And I've noticed on it they listed Sam Pepper. I don't know if you know who Sam Pepper is.
A little. I know about him. Like Lacey Green made a video about him, right?
Yeah, he was one of the white straight men who got completely ran off of YouTube.
Yeah.
So bad he had to delete his channels.
But he was like, wasn't he assaulting women?
I think he was like touching them in the butt or something like that. But I think the video was totally.
They get it off.
Some people when they get exposed, they can't handle it properly. He was one of the people who couldn't handle it properly. He's just digging himself lies. Jesse Smollett digging himself lies. Yep. Ralph Northam digging himself lies. Like they just keep digging and digging. I got exposed. 2 hours later, I'm on H3H3. Just this is what I did.
Oh wow. When you first got exposed and the news dropped, did your heart just like? Did you feel,
I was like, "Fuck, I'm done."
Were you sweating bullets? Like, oh my god,
like,
dude.
Shit. I was like, you just gotta grab the bull by the horns. I'm like, let me just come clean about everything.
Yeah.
Let's not beat around the bush. Let me not try to dig myself out of this by lying more. I go, the truth is out. Let me just say the truth and then work on that in the future.
Yeah, and you know, if only that message resonated with BuzzFeed. When their story was debunked after Michael Cohen testified and said Trump didn't tell him a lie. And I use that example because it's relevant. It just happened. But listen, when you have the editor-in-chief of BuzzFeed refuse to acknowledge they were wrong. Okay, fine. Don't say they were lying, but they were wrong. They published fake news. We know they did. Think about all the other stories where we didn't get the testimony to prove the lie, right? So think about all the YouTubers who might still be doing the same thing you did who haven't been caught. You know what I mean? Like, the bad people are there.
Well, there was Adam Saleh, Muslim YouTuber. He got exposed for faking a lot of stuff.
Yeah, he did that airplane thing where he claimed...
airplane one, he got a fake cop and pretending like the cop was, like, arresting him for being a Muslim. It was like... So
he was doing the other direction.
Yeah, it was like he was doing it in the opposite direction. And he got, like, 1/10 the amount of scrutiny.
Left, because the left is the cultural identitarian left is mainstream and acceptable.
And the thing is, they took his stories, and the mainstream ran with his stories as fact because it fit their narrative. once it got exposed that it was fake, they just shuffled it to
It's
the
funny
side.
because it's like the overarching picture is of two bad guys, but you're the underdog bad guy.
Yeah.
So the media is not giving you as much attention because you were favoring Trump supporters.
Yeah.
And that's true though. Like a lot of Trump supporters liked what you were putting out because it was proving their worldview. Like, this proves it. You get caught, and the left says, this proves our worldview.
Mm-hmm.
But the problem is when the left gets caught, the left zip.
They shuffle it down the
Yep, down the memory hole. Forget about it. So I think we've gone for a really long video. I was gonna do like 10 or 15 minutes, but I guess we'll leave it there, man. If there's any like final say goodbye or whatever. Or...
If you live in Staten Island, vote for me for Congress.
So that's an official announcement. You're running.
I posted on Twitter and Facebook.
Don't you got to do like a bunch of campaign finance stuff now and like?
Yeah, I'm working on that stuff now, getting the bank account set up and everything.
Right on, man. Well, to everybody who watched, you can follow me on Minds at Timcast, and the reason I've been pushing Minds a lot is because they've got this community tool. It's really cool. If you've made it this far and you're hearing me, I'm going to tell you now. There's like a news feed where you can actually post, and then we have a moderator who approves your story. So if you want to share news, it appears in this feed while there's a chat room on the other side. It's actually, like, I'm not saying this because Minds is like an alternative platform that's like safer for censorship. I'm saying like literally their group function actually works really well for what we want to do. So follow me there. I'm gonna have more videos on my second channel, youtube.com/TimCastNews at 6 p.m. Eastern time, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Or no, I'll see you at 6 p.m. I'll see you then.